What is going on? We back in black in the building. Man, another day, another 10 cents at the Court Plantation. You already know what it is. I'm your boy Warren G in the place beat. Been clowning sucker free since 2003. No finessing me. Shout out to everybody out there at the Court Plantation. Shout out to my brother David. No compromise, man. I'm getting excited, man. We gotta do some spaces and shit. We got a lot of shit to discuss. We gonna get it in. Shout out to Shawnee. Positive thoughts go to her family, and energy is going to her family. Erica, shout out to you, Tasha, Mariah, everybody out there, man. You already know what it is. You know what it ain't. Man, let's get into it, man. We gonna talk about some shit. We gonna talk about comparing violence. And the reason why I want to talk about that, man, because just listening and talking to people about our brother, R.I.P. to our brother Takeoff, being senselessly murdered, you know, we have to discuss some things. And we're going to get it out there, man, so let's get it. Hey. I need to get the phone in this motherfucker. Nah, man, I wanted to talk about what I really wanted to talk about real quick was this. Why is it when a black person gets, you know, murdered or killed or his untimely death, it's all-time violence, and it's just black America's violence. But when you look at the dominant society, which are the most violent people in the United States of America Incorporated, we'll just use that. They don't ever talk about that, and they don't ever get a chance to wear that jacket. And you're like, well, why are you saying that? Well, let's compare violence. We have what is called medical apartheid by Harriet Washington. When you read that book, all the vile, vicious things that was going on in that book, that should let you know exactly how violent they are. If you read Slavery by Another Name, that's another book that'll tell you how violent the dominant society can be. Even after death, if you read A Price for a Pound of Flesh, that kind of lets you know how violent they can be after death when they were using other black folk to rob graves and dissect them and do all these horrible and horrific things to black bodies. And we're not talking about as they pillaged, robbed, raped, lynched black folks in the United States of America Incorporated, but when a black person gets killed or there's a disagreement, they want to make that the poster child of violence. And they want to make that as if we don't have the Proud Boys going around. You see that picture up, it has the Proud Boys. Look at that tattoo on his arm, Proud Boy. So you have to understand, don't allow the dominant society to infiltrate your mental capacity to think that we're the most violent people on this planet. No, we're not. We're not even the most violent people in the United States of America Incorporated. All we did was build the country and not get paid. You know what I mean? We wasn't dropping bombs on Hiroshima. We didn't do these vicious, vile things to other racial groups, you know. But for some sort of reason, we get to be tagged as the poster child of violence. And it's so funny that I see this is because it's like, well, damn, well, let's talk about y'all violence as a group. We're not talking about one specific racial group. You know, when you're dealing with the system of racism, white supremacy, and establishing a system of justice, you gotta look at it in the different complexities that it comes along with. And we have to understand that within this system, they can always change the social game rules. They can change the rules and the goalposts and move it whenever they want. But don't let them have you put on that jacket of violence. You know, like I said, RIP to our brother Takeoff, but we don't even really know what's going on, and whatever's going on should be handled behind closed doors, and it should be remained private. But just because that happens doesn't mean we should be the responsible party for violence. You know, some people say violence begets violence, but you know, if you want to, I would say, attribute violence to black folks, my response would be, well, we got it from our slave taskmasters about violence and being violent. We don't own enough resources to be as violent as they want to paint it. And black folk, we do have to be on code with each other and stop allowing people to tell us we got to do better. No, the system of racism and white supremacy needs to be disbanded, and it needs to be replaced with a system of justice. meaning the person that gets the most constructive help gets the most constructive help. So when you're dealing with racism, you're gonna deal with reparations because we built the country for free. And I'm tired of people using, well, you guys kill each other. Nah, that's to me, that's not a good argument, because there are violent crimes committed among other racial groups as well that are just as violent or even more violent than foundational Black Americans. That's not the problem. The problem is when you have racism at its forefront and you have white supremacy at its forefront, and they go tandem, they go hand in hand. What happens when there's racism? There's redlining, there's gentrification. You're locked and boxed out of wealth. When you're locked and boxed out of wealth, what do you expect any other racial group to do? Especially when what would you do if somebody said, build me this house, you built the house and you never got paid, and you live in a box, a cardboard box, but they living in a house and their families living in a house and their families living in a house, and you have a family, but they all living in the box. What do you think? Eventually somebody gonna be like, hey man, that's our house that we built. And where the fuck is the money at? And I think we have to start looking at it and giving more context to it. Because every time there's a violent crime, it's always Black people gotta do better. You know what I mean? Okay, and my question is, in what way? In what way? Tell me. Oh, well, we gotta start loving each other. Okay, all right, we've already established that. But it isn't just Black people gotta do better. There's circumstances that have been placed right in front of us, and there's a reason why there's so many violent crimes and acts, and it ain't just Black folk. It is not just Black folk. And you should know that. And we got to do a better job, to me, of reading. That's the only thing I would say. We have to do a better job of reading and being on code with each other, and these little disparaging disputes that we have, handle them behind closed doors, not bring it to the surface. Because a lot of us are ego driven, and we have egos, and we don't like our ego to be poked in front of a large studio audience. Sometimes, we want to handle it behind closed doors, but that's stuff that could be socially engineered into our mental capacity so we know what's going on. We don't have to be talking that, oh, we got to do better. No, the dominant society has to do better by paying us the money that is owed for us for building this country for free. You want to talk about violence? I got a lot of books we can talk about violence. And like I said, the number one book I would say would be a price for a pound of flesh. Very violent book. Slavery by Another Name. That was another very violent book. Do I need to tell you about Patty Cannon? That story about her. She was a very violent, dominant society person and didn't care. Very dogmatic too. Go read that book. I think I got it around here somewhere. Here, let me see. Let's see. Is this the book? Let's see if this is the book. Yep. Patty Cannon, The Devil on the Nanticoke River. Read that book and see how violent she is and was. A whole bunch of dead Black bodies on her property because she was just killing niggas, just to be killing niggas. But you want to tell me that Black folks are violent? And then when you put that jacket on the dominant society, what they do is they come around, they go into victim mode. They start doing that Robin DiAngelo white fragility bullshit. Well, that was so long ago. Okay, well, you benefited from what happened so long ago. So what about that? So you gotta look at what's going on. Don't let these people put that jacket on your hand. Look, first of all, let's mourn the brother Takeoff and PNB Rock and all. Let's mourn. We don't know what happened. We wasn't there. For all that's not where I wasn't there. And look, when this type of shit happens too, what I don't like, stop pulling your camera out on your phone and taking pictures of niggas bleeding out. That's another thing I want to discuss too. Me and David are going to talk about. They need to stop doing that. People need to start slapping cameras out of people, saying like, why are you videotaping that? This person is bleeding out and you just want to get it on video so you can get clout. It's like, niggas want to get clout off your fucking death. That shit is crazy. You know, in the words of T.K. Kirkland, who raised you? Like, who's raising these people? These are grown adults. Oh, the niggas bleeding out? Here, give me my phone so I can video it. Nigga, nigga, what is you doing? Have some self-dignity about who you are. That's a lot of the problem too. It's like we can't wait for some shit to happen so we can get it on camera so we can be the first one. No. Get the dominant society on camera, nigga. Stop getting us on camera and showing all our faults. They like to discuss. That's why TMZ want to shove a mic in somebody's face and a camera in somebody's face every time a black person does something that's ill-advised. No, man. But they don't do that shit when you talk about Harvey Weinstein or Jeffrey Epstein. It's so funny. Ain't nobody talking about that or Ghislaine Maxwell. We don't know what the fuck going on with them white people. But they'll tell you about a motherfucking black person all day, just like the corporate plantation. Be mindful of what's going on. And that's sad. That brother, that brother Takeoff was a young brother. And I don't like that. And I don't like them comparing our violence, to world violence. Basically, like our violence is the biggest violence on the planet. And then they have black folks trying to chastise other black folks like, hey man, we gotta do better. And they do it in such a way where it's like you being at a corporate plantation and maybe you don't fuck with a motherfucker. So then they get a black person that's giving a speech to all the black people. Man, we have to step up and do better. Like, stop that shit, man. Stop letting them make you feel like you're the poster child for violence. Nigga, you better go read Medical Apartheid. Slavery by Another Name. You better go read about Patty Cannon and all the vile vicious shit that she was doing. That's just one person, a part of the dominant society that they don't never talk about. You better go read about the Ku Klux Klan. You better go read about all those lynchings. I got this book called 100 Years of Lynching. I think I'm going to read that next. I just been so busy. I got to get back really into like my reading. It's like, nigga, violence. And it's so funny because once you done read a couple of books, you kind of be looking like, especially once you read Black Labor White Wealth, you be like, man, nigga, what? There's just more at stake than letting them make you feel like you're responsible for violent crimes that go on. You don't know what happened with our brother Takeoff. That could have been a misunderstanding. We don't know what's going on because we weren't there. But stop allowing other black folk to perpetuate this bullshit like, we're the only violent ones. And then you have these people that are celebrities that make comments like, I seen on Twitter, Lakeith Stanfield, that's in Atlanta, he made a comment. I wanted to tell him, man, you just shut the fuck up. You just be quiet. It looked like they done paid you off. It's like you just done turned totally moist. So you shouldn't even be talking. Stop letting people speak up on behalf of black society when they have no idea what's going on. Just because you're a good actor don't mean you know what the fuck is going on behind, the scenes. I just don't like that. We're not the most violent people in the United States of America. Y'all niggas done lost y'all mind. They are. They control the narrative. They control the infrastructure of what's going on. Oh, well, you can't just blame black people for everything. I'm not saying I'm blaming white people for everything, but I'm going to tell you, they have to take some accountability in this situation too. The dominant society is very, very, very intelligent, and they're very mindful of how they do things and go about things. They had no problem shutting Kanye West's black ass down. So shut all this other goddamn violence down. But look at the insurrection at the Capitol. They let the people go in there and act a goddamn fool. But you don't see them really talking about that. That's why I said on Tuesday, I don't know why y'all niggas up here fighting with each other about voting. Fuck all that vote shit. Nigga, look at what's going on around you. This is hell on earth. Interest rate is 7.7%. The Fed interest rate 7.7. Well, what does that mean, Warren? Nigga, that mean, milk is gonna be $10 a fucking gallon of milk. So while they up here having you argue with your brother or sister about some straight bullshit, they in the back raising the prices. Like, let's just price these dumb niggas out the game. Where they just will disintegrate. Because they already fighting each other anyway because of this system that we created. So let them just tear each other to shreds and kill each other. Because they don't have an infrastructure and they don't have a code of conduct. They don't have a code. We don't have a code. We too busy pulling on our cell phones and videotaping a nigga bleeding out. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all, man? I don't even want to watch shit like that. They did that with PNB Rock. Somebody posted him just bleeding out while everybody panicking because don't nobody know what to do. It's like, bro, And then isolated incidents, they want to put all the violent crimes on black people. Then they want to bring up the violent shit in Chicago. Well, nigga, I blame Rahm Emanuel and all those other motherfuckers that were running the city that didn't do nothing about it. As Laquan McDonald gets gunned down viciously and violently by race soldiers, and they hid the videotape and then kept it away from the public so he can get reelected. Stop, nigga, I go on and on. Just remember, don't let these people give you that template that you're the violent ones and they're the soft-spoken ones. Man, they've been the most vicious, vile people for the last 500 years. Since the inception of the United States of America Incorporated. You better go look up Christopher Columbus. Niggas act like Christopher Columbus was a nice person. With his cannibalism having ass. That's why the Moors didn't fuck with him. That's like, man, we should kill this motherfucker. As he just going around naming shit that's already named, that's already there. Man, fuck you and Christopher Columbus. Look, man, read, research, get amongst your people, have conversations that matter. Move the needle forward, handle your business, stay in your lane, and do not let them have you feeling like you're the violent ones. Foundational Black Americans are not the violent ones. We're the ones who built the country for free without repayment. So when y'all up and give us that reparations, then we'll up and get our shit cracking. But until then, hey man, there's a payment and a debt that is owed for reparations for us building this country for free, and I don't want to hear it. And I don't want nobody talking about, man, we gotta do better, man. We can't be so violent. Stop. Tell the military and the army and all these other motherfuckers, tell them that. I'm out. Guilty, nigga. Peace.